in the future, where we're all currently living, these little things that we go around calling smartphones are actually more like super portable, super light computers that are connected to the entirety of human knowledge all the time. And one of the ways in which they're actually more like computers than they are anything like a phone is that more and more Android devices have what's called USB OTG built in. And that allows you to connect USB devices to your phone and turn it into more of a functioning computer. So that can include USB keys, that can include mice, and then of course if you do that and you connect your phone up to, say, like a monitor or something, you've got more or less of a fully functioning computer available that you can carry with you anywhere you go. And here I've actually got this USB key here plugged into my Nexus 4 here. Let's just go on to it and let's find some footage of my hero, Jordan Peterson, talking about, let's find out what he's talking about. So let's switch to.
That's because they turn into psychological traits, fundamentally, or motivational, motivated by a certain, and taking apart what was inside the brain.
And so this was really helpful on a recent trip where I was able to watch Simpsons on my phone off of USB keys. It's especially useful for devices like, say, the Nexus 4 or the Galaxy Nexus that don't have expandable memory. You can't put an SD card in them. So that's really, really helpful. Unfortunately, the Nexus 4, even though it was supposed to come built in with this kind of a thing, it turned out they didn't actually end up including it with the Nexus 4, which is unfortunate because the Galaxy Nexus, the previous iteration of the Nexus phones, actually did have it built in. But if you've got a phone, try Googling the name of your phone plus USB OTG on the go, OTG, and see if it works on your phone, because that can be really useful sometimes to carry around some USB keys. So for the Nexus 4, there were two problems. Somebody named Ziddy on the XDA developers forums actually created a working solution, and it involves two things. One is you need to have your phone unlocked and rooted. You also need to have a ROM that isn't a stock ROM. It has to be a deodexed ROM. So that is, I'm running Cyanogen Mod here, and that's a fairly popular one to run for these kind of things. And then what you do is you have to download the Ziddy. He's got a file. It's just a zip file. You download the zip file. I'm just going to go ahead and unmount this and show you how this works. So I'm just going to go into ROM Manager. I'm going to unplug this. I'm going to go into Reboot into Recovery. Hit OK. Oops, I removed it before I should have. Oh well. Hopefully that won't cause too many problems. Got a little unlocked icon at the bottom here. And it's probably too tiny for you to see. I'm going to scroll down to the install zip from SD card option, and using the volume keys for up and down and the power button to select, choose zip from SD card, then go into the folder. Yep, 0. That's the SD card we're using. Go into the folder that you've actually selected this in, and then select it, and it'll say, you know what? Maybe I'll just do that. Download. They downloaded it onto my phone, and there's a Ziddy OTG with the date on it, .zip. It's going to ask me, confirm install, this cannot be undone, and then I could install it, but I actually don't want to install it because I already installed it. It just takes like a half a minute after that. So after that process, you just hit go back a bunch of times, and then you go to reboot system now, just reboot back into the OS. I've actually found it a bit temperamental. It hasn't worked nearly as smoothly as the Galaxy Nexus. I've had to, and that has sometimes happened with the USB key, and sometimes that's happened like between USB keys, and sometimes it happened within a USB key. So what that means is I plugged in a USB key, and either I pulled it out before I was able to unmount it cleanly, which is like ejecting on a Windows PC or ejecting on a Mac as well. And then I can't use this USB key on the system until I plug it into another system, including the Windows, or into the Galaxy Nexus or something like that, and then this USB key will work again on this phone. Alternatively, I've sometimes had to plug in a different USB key onto my phone, have it mounted properly, unmounted properly, and then I'm able to plug this back in. So I find it a little temperamental. There's a second issue with doing it this way too, is for the Nexus 4, it can't supply the power itself, so you need to have power all the time. And then, that kind of makes it slightly less useful, but it's okay. That can mean like just a wall charger, or in this case, I have an Anker portable USB battery, which is really useful actually. This is 10,000 mAh, so this charges my phone like 4 or 5 times over. And of course, it's, whenever you pull something like this out, all your friends go, "Oh, I need to charge my phone too." So that's why I went for the much bigger model. But you can find smaller ones that aren't much bigger than, say, like a thumb drive. So, that's an option too. Okay, so we've mounted up, booted up. It's updating now. Let's try plugging in this USB key. Now I've got stick mount installed, but you don't actually need stick mount or anything else. You just go to settings after you've installed the update from Zitty, which is based on the Franco kernel, if you actually know what that means. You go into settings, you go to not battery. You go to storage, and at the bottom you'll find options to mount and unmount shared storage. However, since I have stick mount installed, which I do recommend, it's going to go ahead and it's going to automatically mount it every time I plug in. It'll tell me where it was mounted to. So I'm just going to go into Astro File Manager, or ES File Manager, which I'm also a big fan of. Go to My Files. This is the SD card. I'm going to go to /storage, and there's a new option here called USB Disk 0. Click on that, and again we get to the same videos. Not this one. Slightly bigger, and the same videos as I pointed out before. Play them using MX Player. Let's say resume.
His or her own internal emotional state. That.
And so, like I said, this is really useful for being able to play music off of a USB key, or be able to play videos or whatever you would like. Oh, okay, there it is, being temperamental again. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and unmount that. Another thing I was able to do is actually use it to not shared storage. You can actually get it's called NTFS-3D. It's just a file. You get it, you drop it into the base of your SD card, and you're able to read NTFS partition files, which most of my big USB keys are NTFS partition. It's a shame that there was never an update that replaced Windows FAT32, which is the most common format, but allowed you to have more than 4 files of larger than 4 gigabytes, where I often have USB keys. Now here I've actually plugged in a mouse into the USB key, and I'm just going to use this mouse to, okay, so whatever, blah, 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 go around, move it around, hold down the notification bar, and it works like a mouse on a regular computer. That's sort of, I think that what will happen more and more is Android is going to become another competitor in the OS space, especially sort of like in the sort of tabletish OS space, kind of like what Windows 8 is trying to do, but Android will do more of that, which is problematic for a lot of other reasons, but we won't get into that too much. And that's about it. And so now I have USB OTG on my phone, and I can read and occasionally write to USB keys.